Oh my fucking god. A bathroom is a sacred place, a place of introspection, solitude, and a place where most of these scripts are written. To have this place taken away from me would be absolutely devastating. And that's exactly what IO Interactive did. You might be aware of the newest game mode in Hitman 3, Freelancer mode. You might also be aware that in this game mode, various rooms in your top secret bunker are locked until you reach a specific level. Perhaps most confusingly, the bathroom.
And every day, even I have to use the plain old bathroom. Just like you.
We're talking about being locked out of a room designed for a basic bodily function here. You unlock the wine cellar before the bathroom. In what world would someone prioritize wine over the ability to piss? At the end of the day, all that wine has to go somewhere, and Agent 47 is practically a ticking time bomb. Thankfully, there is some leeway, as his targets aren't psychos with play-to-win bathroom rights like he is. He'll just have to hold it between missions for now. Speaking of missions, I was thrown to the wolves immediately. Or should I say, thrown to the bees immediately. My first target was an eco-terrorist known as the Bee. But rather than beelining straight towards him, I needed to systematically take out his workers in order to lure him out of his hive. Armed with a single pistol and a stethoscope I found while wandering the facility, I made my way to the first target. Now, this isn't my proudest moment, and I would just like to let it be known that this was actually my first time playing the game. But basically, I started in a very well-guarded castle tower, which was already considered trespassing, and, well, I promptly started a firefight, dying and failing the mission immediately. It turns out that Hitman is a bit of a stealth game, where it's very easy to become overwhelmed if you get caught up in combat. Clearly nobody had let me know this, so this was all a learning experience. Dejected, I made my way home to prepare for the next mission. But hey, I unlocked this cool new suit. Isn't it awesome, guys? Wait, what do you mean I lost all my gear? So it turns out if you die on a mission, you lose everything, which isn't great because I already did not have very much to begin with. We effectively went from no bathroom to no bathroom and no gun. My friend Mayor said it better than I ever could.
Give me back my gun.
With a new resolve to climb back up and rebuild my confidence after this embarrassing display, I packed my bags and booked a flight to Colombia for my next mission. Surely with new knowledge and experience under my belt, I'll be able to take out at least one target. I'm just gonna save us both time here. While I did last longer in Colombia, it basically ended the same way as before, with me getting gunned down by multiple guards because I played a bit too fast and loose. Yeah, I sorta just tried to choke someone out in front of another person for what was an objectively worse disguise. At the end of the day, clearly the bee was too much. We got stung, which technically means they would have died as well, so I'm gonna chalk this up as a win overall. Even though the battle was won, we still had a war ahead as the game didn't want to recognize my victory for some reason, and the bathroom was still locked. Heading into the third mission, I needed to pick a new target. I figured this time I'd take a new approach and target the Peacemaker. My logic being that peace is literally in the name, therefore we'll be able to handle things diplomatically, and I could convince him to dispose of himself so we could avoid violence. Basically, I'm gonna say to kill you. Keep yourself safe. Yeah. Before we could achieve negotiations though, we did still need to kill his goons in order to draw him out. The first of which was in Italy. This time I wouldn't fail. I'd do everything in my power to be as stealthy as I possibly could and use whatever advantage I was presented with, including murdering innocent people just trying to do their jobs. Now in my defense, I thought he was a guard, not a gardener. But what's done is done, and there's nothing we can really do to change that. If anything, this is a good thing because it means it'll hurt less the next time I do it. And yes, I will be doing it a lot. In fact, I did it again right after, this time to someone who actually was a security guard. This meant I had a proper disguise that would let me enter the mansion my target was in. What's that? My target wasn't in the mansion. which meant I had a proper disguise that would allow me to leave the mansion and find my target elsewhere. With the stealth of a master assassin, I approached my victim, pushing him over a ledge that honestly wasn't that big of a drop. He probably survived that. Oh, and someone saw me. After an epic chase sequence where I cleverly evaded my pursuers, I was able to reach my extraction point and complete the mission. Next up was Morocco. The Peacemaker had 2 more goons to handle there, and I was reinvigorated after a phenomenal showing in Italy. My targets were a pair of soldiers, one on patrol in the main city and the other stationed in an abandoned schoolhouse. I found the patrolling soldier first, but determined there were too many witnesses and headed toward the school. Getting into the building wasn't exactly easy either though. See, I disguised as a soldier early on, thinking that would give me access to the majority of places I need to go, and for the most part it did, but unfortunately the soldier whose outfit I stole was but a recruit, and I needed to be a higher rank. I needed a vest. I spent a bit longer than I'd like to admit theory crafting how I could get my hands on one of these vests before coming across a nearby building with roof access, one that would allow me to cross behind enemy lines, one step closer to my target. The obvious risk here being that I would be trespassing the second I reached the other side, but I went for it anyway. In all honesty, I was more concerned than I probably needed to be. There was a guard standing in prime position for me to take out and disguise myself as, and I was right back on track practically immediately. From here on out, getting to the first target would be smooth sailing. I rapidly approached his position and watched him, waiting until he gave me an opportunity. He took a little sip from this water bottle, and that's when I knew we had him. The moment he set the drink down, I made my move and slipped poison into it. Poison that would leave him hunched over in a bathroom stall mere minutes after consuming it. It didn't take long for him to fall into my ingenious trap, taking a sip from the devious concoction and allowing me to follow him closely behind to the trash bin. No, dude, that's fucking gross. Come on, man. Like, at least in the bathroom you can flush it. This is just gonna sit there and get... Oh my god, the smell? That aside, he also did it in front of another guard, which meant I had to take out the guard first, and then him. So I did, and then I made my way to the second target. I'll be honest, I sorta just stabbed him and ran, and hey, it worked out. So that's another mission done and out of the way. It also led to our first unlock, a sweet clown outfit that I would be using for the foreseeable future. But more than any of that, we'd finally drawn out the Peacemaker, essentially the first time making it to a boss, truly a momentous occasion. We've also been able to gather more information on the target, learning that he's a dehydrated foodie with red hair. I started out the mission by purposefully drowning one guard and accidentally drowning another while trying to get a disguise. Then, while scoping out the local area, I managed to wander upon a very intense slap fight competition being held on a pallet in the middle of the street, which I naturally joined in on, cutting straight to the front of the line. Here it is. Clearly this display of prowess drew some unwanted attention, however, as I was informed that a rival assassin was nearby. This put me into a bit of a panic, so I ran to the first person with red hair I could find and murdered them in cold blood. She, wasn't the target, but he was. I finally had the upper hand. People flooded the streets and my name was on their lips, yet it all still felt hollow because my ultimate goal still wasn't achieved. I had done everything right and defeated an entire crime syndicate, but I still didn't even get enough experience to level up from it. My hopes of using the restroom dangled just out of reach as my heart sank in the face of this empty victory. I needed a boost, something to give me the strength I needed to power through to the end, and that's when I discovered motivational posters. I pored over them, hanging on every word and internalizing the messages I was presented with, but there was one that really stuck out. IO Interactive knew what I was doing, and they were toying with me. Do you need to use the bathroom? This was an absolutely uncalled for provocation that I would not let slide. I was more determined than ever to reach level 4 and unlock that bathroom they so callously taunted me with. The next mission was a failure, but I remained undeterred. Only one thing on my mind. The one after that was a success, followed by failure, followed by success. My goals creeping creeping ever closer in an eternal battle against myself and this fucking maid. How did she even see me? The failures didn't matter though. All they did was delay the inevitable, an inevitability that was drawing closer and closer regardless of how much the game and its ontologically evil development team wanted to set me back. By this point, I was a weapon, and there were very few that could match my elite assassin skills. With almost practiced precision, I took out my next target in the stairwell of a bank, immediately blowing my cover, but employing one of the most effective tactics in a hitman's arsenal, running away and hoping they don't shoot you. The next objective was a guard at a private fashion show, where I used basically the same tactic, except this time with a ranged element. This was it. One final target stood between me and the ultimate goal of a private restroom. Just think of all the time wasted up to this point, time I could have spent hunched over, playing Pokemon Unite with my pants around my ankles, or Tetris 99, or some shitty mobile game I found in an Instagram ad. Time I would finally have once again to mount my golden throne. I tried to poison the target with a needle, but I punched him in the face in front of a bunch of guards and snapped his neck instead. Also, he turned out not to actually be the target anyway. Alright, one last ride. Let's make this one count. I had 2 targets for this mission. One was in some sort of secret underground lab, the other was in a random apartment block. Honestly, I kind of lucked into getting access to the lab. I found some guy walking around dressed like what I thought was a chef, so I stole his outfit and wandered into a shipping container. They sort of just let me. From there, I would swap disguises a few times before venting and stabbing the first target with a screwdriver, like in the hit video game Among Us. And that was honestly the hard part. The final target was in a random apartment block with significantly less security. I flung the screwdriver into his head and dipped out. Simple as that. All that work, all that effort, the trial and error, the stress of it all was finally worth it. I had finally accomplished what I set out to do. The keys to the bathroom were mine. Sure, I could end this by taking out the final syndicate boss anyway, just to make it a more complete video, but I'm not doing that. Subscribe.